Okay, so we're out here. We got about 4 hours in yesterday. We went and got new batteries from Rural King. Rural King's got great prices on batteries. We do know for a fact that this was hooked up positive ground. It's a 1960 4104. GM didn't change to negative ground until 1961, which doesn't mean somebody wouldn't have converted it, but thank goodness the original batteries were still in there and hooked up, and we can see that the positive was going to ground on the body. The engine does bar over. I've turned it over. We have freed up all the injectors. All of them were stuck. One of them was just a tiny bit, but the rest of them were, one of them was completely, like, I didn't think I was going to get it, and finally it started moving. There is no coolant in here right now, so we're going to go to Rural King and get some coolant. Not really sure what that pump is down there. It's disconnected right there, because that's the power steering pump that's right above it. The fuel lines are disconnected from the tank right now, and they've got these hoses where they ran it off of auxiliary fuel. Allegedly, that's what they did in 2002, or 2001, whatever year he said that was. I forgot now. So I don't want to burn that pump up. I'm not sure what that went to, though, if they've had it disconnected. I don't see any lines laying around here that go to it. I don't think this transmission has an exterior pump. Like a 4106 has an external pump on it, but the 4104, it's an internal pump, because that's actually the pump right there. I don't want to burn something up, though. Not having, so I'll probably just spray a little bit of oil in it for right now, just to keep it lubed up while we run it for a few minutes. The parking brake is disconnected here, and the story that we got on that is just like what we heard the other day. If he let a friend of his drive it, and they left that on, it got hot, had a fire, and they put cold water on it, and it cracked it. So it is disconnected now. That sounds very familiar. We did not put water on ours, though. It wasn't actually on fire. It was just very hot. We just waited for it to cool down. But yeah, so hopefully here in just a few minutes after we get back from Rural King, get some coolant in it. I'm gonna put about, it looks like it's gonna take about 18 gallons. I don't know if the heating loop is opened or not. I'm gonna close the valves to it. We're gonna go get some fresh diesel, and we've already got these lines here, so we don't have to run it off the tank. We can run it off of fresh diesel right through those hoses that they've got there. I've checked the oil bath air filters are good. They're filled with oil. There's no rodent nests in them, and they're not filled with water. And everything is progressing along nicely here. Okay, so we ran to Rural King and got some coolant, and we are filling the coolant on here. And we are, where are we at? What did you say, 12? We're at 12 gallons now?
This will be number 12, yeah.
Right, started up for the first time. I temporarily primed the fuel system. I used the garden sprayer, and we're running off of this 5 gallons of diesel here, sitting bungee corded to the bumper there. The rack is all, we freed up all the injectors on it. We just put new batteries in it, and we're going to attempt to turn it over here. Hopefully the starter works. I'm going to hold the rack in the off position. This right here, if you stick that screwdriver here and you pull this thing, this flap over, when this gets in, this completes the circuit. It should turn over. We're just going to let it turn over for a few seconds. We're not actually going to start it yet.
Go now?
Yeah, go ahead. Oh, hang on a second. I lied. Let me make sure this works. That's our emergency stop flapper. Worst case scenario. It shouldn't start right now, but just in case. All right, go ahead. Keep coming a little further. No? That's not good. Let me see it. That's anticlimactic. All right, let's try. What do we got here? All right, you grab this vice grips and pull them down towards us here. Okay, that's good for now. Thank you. Let me go grab some starting fluid, because it was in the 20s last night. It's gonna need a little help. down to 12.4. Was there a battery charger in his garage by any chance?
Check.
I have one, but okay. Here we go. It started to. We had a little.
Yeah, a little sputter.
I think we are sucking. Let me check our fuel filter. I suspect that the line that they have here, that is the intake line, is somehow sucking air and not sucking fuel out of there. So if I take this off and this is empty again. Because they've just got a hose and a hose there. I bet you $50 that's what happened. Oh, I relied on their little system there. Shouldn't have.
Something of those 25-year-old hoses by the or something.
Well, it's a hose stuck inside a hose. It's not even a. See it?
Yeah, no, I do. I get started.
Okay. Go ahead.
What's going on there?
I don't know what that is. Is it just the starter solenoid not engaging?
Sounds like something's scratching around with that. I'm trying again. It's a weird sound.
Try it again. Too much dirt flying around for me to continue doing that. Without the air filter. It runs.
She's a beast. Love it.
Well, I'm trying to get Kelly to blow the bus, but she won't do it. She's gonna make me do it. There's two lines here. I don't know which one's the fuel in and which one's the return, so I'm gonna blow through it and see if we hear bubbles in the tank. If it's the pickup tube, then that should be the one. You sure you don't want to blow it?
I'm not blowing a bus.
You gonna make me blow the bus?
Yes.
So take this camera and go up there and open the fuel tank door, and I'm gonna blow in one, and if you hear bubbles, let me know.
Where is it at? Here? Sure. Yes. I hear.
Hear bubbles or just air?
Do it again.
No, it's on purpose.
Bubbles.
What?
Bubbles.
Okay.
You're a spitter, huh?
I spit, yes. Okay, so that's the one that's on all the way to this side is the pickup. Dirty.
Go brush my teeth.
After we shut it off, the power steering pump is now hemorrhaging bubbles. Let's see. This So we're gonna see if these rear switches work or not. He's gonna turn it to on up front. This should go. Psst. Occurred to me he may not know what he's doing up there. Oh, there it goes. See that.
You're just talking about the engine run button, right?
Yeah, is that what you did?
Not at first. but that's not it.
Oh no, you hit the engine emergency stop. That's
Yeah.
what I heard that.
First, yeah.
But the second one you did,
Yeah, I did.
you turned it to run.
Right.
Go turn it off. I want to hear this go psh and make a noise. Nope. That didn't do it. All right, let me go up there. That didn't do it. trying to track down our airbag leak on here, and it's not these, because these actually have pressure in them. And these are not plated. There's not enough to lift it, but it's just because the air pressure won't build high enough. So whatever's going on in the bus. So it's not the front ones that are the problem. So we're gonna jack this up a little bit higher so we can set this down on some wood. So it'll be a little easier to get to the next time if we gotta get under here to grease it and all that kind of stuff. But everything looks real good, man. The air beams are super nice on this bus. No rust. Everything looks good. There's a lot of mud and dirt down there. Radius rod bushings look a little worse for their wear, but not horrible. Power steering clearly has a leak, which we noticed that one had all the air in the back. Okie doke. I was using my jacking plates and wood, and it was sinking, and then we had to go to another jack, and it really pushed that down on the ground a couple inches. I want to raise it a little bit higher. Okay, we're trying to figure out why we couldn't get the bus to move. And then I figured out there's an issue with the brakes. Once it builds up air pressure, the brakes are applied no matter what. So I just started it instantly with no brakes, put it in gear, and drove it no problem. Of course, I can't stop. So I want to get it back up on wood, so I'm going to start it with no air pressure, drive it onto the wood, and it should hit the big wood and stop on the big wood. And then he's going to slide the other one back behind the wheel so it doesn't roll backwards. And I'm going up on wood on all 4 tires. We'll see how this goes. I got to bleed off the air pressure real quick.
Really?
Yeah, whatever that air, I can't dump it up here. So wherever there's air in the system, it's already.
We didn't get all the way on the wood.
Try it again. Try it again, okay?
We're safe. It may come forward, but I don't think it will.
That's very weird driving with no brakes. I'm like, you gotta be quick with what you're doing back there. So the first time I did it, I'm like, oh, he wasn't quick enough. So this little ICC brake valve diaphragm, it's inside that little square thing right there, is bad. It's applying the brakes automatically, no matter what. So as long as there's air pressure, it's putting the brakes on. So I tried to move the bus and it wouldn't move. I turn it on, turn it off. I could hear it leaking air, but it leaks air back through it and applies it to the brakes. So the bus won't move because of that. And well, you can see I can move it without it. If I immediately start the bus with no air pressure and I can drive it. But then as soon as the air pressure builds up, then the brakes automatically apply. So anyways, I'm gonna see if I can take that apart and put a new piece of rubber in there. We'll see what we can do. Okay, we're getting ready to leave here. It's Monday morning. I worked a day and a half on this bus. We got it running and moving. It's got some work. We're gonna come back in about a week and a half, as long as the weather's good, and try and finish it up and get it back to North Carolina. We're gonna add spring brakes to it. Since the emergency/parking brake is disabled on it, it's cheaper and easier and safer to go ahead and add 2 30/30 cans on it with a PP1 valve and so on. So it'll have a modern emergency parking brake setup on it. Other than that, everything looked real good on it. We got an extra airbag if there is an airbag down, but the bags in the front were all hard, and those are all wired on one, or plumbed on one thing. So if there's one down, it's a rear, and neither side of the rear ever came up at all. So it could be 2 airbags in the rear, I'm not sure. But I know that it's not building air because of that massive air leak up front by the brakes. So once I figure that out, we'll go from there. But if I gotta order parts, I gotta order parts. Luke can have them here in a day or two. not really a big concern. Overall, the bus is in really good shape considering it's been off the road for 28 years. It's nice, and you'll see this again in another video coming up soon. We're getting ready to hit the road here. We're heading to Lance's, finish up work on that 4106 that we put the automatic transmission in, and then probably work on a couple of his other buses. We're working on Bill's Eagle while we're there as well. Changing his fan setup to a belt-driven fan from a hydraulic-powered fan. A little bit of fabrication involved in that one, but it shouldn't be too bad. So anyways, we're getting ready to hit the road here. It's pretty chilly out this morning. About a 5-hour drive to Nashville, Tennessee. Well, Franklin, Tennessee.